Is there anyone who would like to go first, or I would have to do any, miny, mo, and pick somebody? I believe every group leader is here because I see everyone. Yeah, all of you are here. Any volunteer? Going once, going twice. All right, let me pick. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, na, 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 na. Rohini.
Hi, actually my friend is presenting. Felix is presenting.
Oh, okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Phoenix, over to you.
Yeah.
Over
Hello.
to you.
Okay, I'm not
Hi.
getting it clearly.
I'm saying you can
Yeah.
present your proprietary.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Are you guys seeing my screen? Mm-hmm. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Still loading. Yeah, seeing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So our group was doing anything under the sun. So we picked wildlife conservation. So we discussed about it, and here are our slides. So so wildlife in Kenya is a country of diverse habitat. So the humid the humid broadleaf forests along the coast of the Indian Ocean give way to lush grasslands and savannas, as depicted in the picture. So the mangrove forest. Okay, so the bagoing service industry continues to grow in Kenya, and ecotourism plays a big part in East Africa's strongest economy. So visitors flock to the country to see Africa's big five, but the lions, elephants, rhinos, leopards, and buffalo are just a handful of the treasured species in this nation. Baboons, zebras, giraffes, flamingos, and more are enjoyed by tourists thanks to a strong national park system and a network
Felix,
of community conservancies. Yeah.
are you presenting slides or you're just talking?
I'm presenting slides.
Okay, we currently can't see them.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually, you're not seeing any slide on your side.
okay, sorry. Oh, wow. That's why I asked first. Okay, sorry. What about now?
Yeah,
Yes.
now we're on the slide.
Oh, okay, sorry for that. Okay, so let me start again. So we are doing wildlife conservation. So under wildlife conservation, so as you know, Kenya is a country diverse, rich habitat. So the humid broadleaf forests along the coast of the Indian Ocean give way to lush grasslands and savannas. So the industry continues to grow in Kenya. So which plays a big part in East Africa's strongest economy. So visitors flock the country to see the big five. That's the lions, elephants, rhinos, leopards, and buffaloes, which are just a handful of the treasured species in the nation. So baboons, zebras, giraffes, flamingos, and more are enjoyed by tourists thanks thanks to a strong national park system and a network of community conservancies. So the coastal regions of our country is also enjoying.
Felix, I
Yeah.
still can't see your slides.
Wow. Okay. What about the other
Can't you make
guys?
zoom screen? Sorry, full screen. Just use full screen.
Okay. Okay. Let me just view. Wow. Slideshow. From what about now?
No.
Is that the same with everybody else?
Well, I'm seeing, but
Screen.
I think the problem is not the slide. The problem is maybe the font you used. That's why some people might not see it.
Rovini, I think it's on your end.
Okay, it's okay then.
Can just proceed.
Okay, so although Africa brags of its vast wildlife, there are many problems that the wildlife encounters. Like some problems are the human-wildlife conflict, the ivory and rhino horn poaching, the habitat destruction, climate change, bushmeat poaching, illegal logging, infrastructure and development. So let's see how these factors influence. So the human-wildlife conflict. The major human-wildlife conflict types are crop raiding, attacks on humans. There's also livestock depredation and property damage. So effects of human-wildlife conflict are loss of biodiversity and local extinction of some species. So we came up with some solutions, and they are adopting crops that mature at different times, then adapting crops that are less palatable, then better husbandry practices to reduce livestock depredation. So here is a picture of some sharp object that was used by man to take down an elephant. Okay, so the other problem was ivory and rhino horn poaching. So the demand of ivory and rhino horn means wild elephants and rhinos are being slaughtered daily for their tusks and horn. So the effects of ivory and rhino on poaching, we see there is extinction of some of these species. So the solutions are the Kenya's anti-poaching teams dismantle and destroy poachers' heights, shooting platforms and traps and blinds. So destroying ivory stocks, China recently destroyed its ivory stocks for the first time, sending a message to the world that trade in ivory will not be tolerated. So there's also another solution is innovating drone technology, which is used to test, which is being tested to help rangers in the fight against poaching. Also creating designated wildlife conservation areas. In this way, local authorities give themselves more power to immediately deal with a poaching risk. So making the sale of animal products completely illegal. By making it more difficult to access animal products, it lessens the potential market that poachers have to sell their products. Also encouraging tourist activities that do not require hunting. Habitat destruction. As the population continues to grow, the human encroachment through settlement farms and infrastructure on wildlife territories is a serious threat on animals and plants. So the effects of habitat destruction is habitat fragmentation, the loss of biodiversity, disruption to traditional migratory routes, increase in human-animal effect. So the solutions were preserving natural resources, learning how to use them in a way that does not require such frequent destruction of habitats. Also, plans and rules should be set forth to legalize how much of a given area can be altered for the benefits of humans. This allows wildlife time to adapt and leave more areas undisturbed for the sake of the biodiversity. Climate change. So climate change, these are the variations that persist for a longer period, typically decades or more. So the effects: loss of biodiversity, they alter migration routes, impact species that rely on seasonal changes for food, they impact the growth of regeneration of trees and forests. Increase in temperatures leads to more frequent and intense forests and bushfires, which can kill huge numbers of small mammals, insects, birds, and reptiles. So the solutions are: we should conserve forests, rack up forest restoration, orchestrate enthusiastic afforestation. Uh, we should shun routes that derail climate change management and implement stringent waste management policies. We should also ensure that industries exercise purification of waste gases before sending them up into the atmosphere. Recycle or harvest some of the industrial waste gases like water vapor and carbon dioxide. We also have bushmeat poaching. So the hunting and snaring of wild animals for consumption of their meat is a serious threat facing Kenya's wildlife. So the effects are: leads to widespread local declines of species in Africa, like the white rhino, reduces the number of seed dispersing animals, extinction of valued species, impacting forest and biodiversity. Snares can cause severe injuries, slow suffering, and excruciating pain to trapped animals. So the solutions were promoting and promoting and understanding that bushmeat hunting can lead to pandemics, provide alternative livelihoods so they can feed and support their families. So how can we provide alternative livelihoods? Expansion and diversification of agricultural products, providing drought-resistant seeds, providing fertilizers, providing crops high of value, then providing crops high in nutrition. So illegal logging is the other problem that wildlife face. So illegal logging for fuel or charcoal trade is a big challenge to the wildlife. Forest home, including the birds, plants, insects, and even mammals. So the effects of illegal logging: there is loss of biodiversity, there is deforestation, desertification, pollution, climate change, and bushfires. So the solutions are encroachment of forest stewardship, which is essential that it works directly with the lumber mills and timber industry to monitor and curtail black markets. So also strict regulations on forest management that will help, that should take action and utilize their constitutional provisions on environmental protection that enact laws and regulations restricting the practice. Also, legal purchase, we can contribute by ensuring that they only purchase certified timber products, that we only purchase certified timber products. Also, volunteer, donate, and spread the word. Spreading the word about the impacts of illegal logging. Infrastructure and development. So this was also another problem facing the which wildlife face. So a growing human population means more infrastructure to support it, often at the expense of wildlife and the environment. The effects: roads and railways can split habitats and close migratory routes. Vehicles that use these roads and railways impact the air quality. Population of local ecosystems, death of animals in road, rail, and traffic. The solutions are strategic land use planning to minimize the negative impact of infrastructure development, involving conservationists in such planning to avoid unnecessary deforestation. Then maintaining environmental and social impact assessments, that's the ACAS, as early as possible. Then stricter regulations on forest management should be set. Also legal purchase, where the same as we can contribute by ensuring that we only purchase certified timber products. Volunteering and donating, volunteer, donate and spread the word, then spreading the word about the impacts of illegal logging. So here are some, did you know? So as the population of Kenya is projected to be more than 50% higher by 2030, which will further stress relations between humans and wildlife. Human-wildlife conflict is said to become an even bigger issue. So, and it's also said that some 500 people are killed each year by elephants, and wild animals, including elephants, can be killed in the retaliation. Between 2010 and 2012, the ivory poaching crisis killed some 100,000 elephants for their tusks at a rate of 1 every 15 minutes. So we see that's a higher rate. While in some countries of Africa, including Sierra Leone and Senegal, elephants have been driven to extinction. So more than 28,878 rhinos have been lost to poaching in the last decade, which just 2 white rhinos and 56 dirty black rhinos remaining. So the world's last surviving male northern white rhino died after months of poor health. His care give us away. So so thank you. That was our presentation. Rohini will answer the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felix.
Yeah. Should I stop sharing?
Yes, I think so, because you are done. Thank you very much for sharing with us what you've been working on. I think we can go to the next presentation before giving our feedback, or I don't know, Kevin.
Sorry, it got cut off. Are we gonna go through all the presentations and then give feedback? One by one.
Well, I think it's more practical.
Pardon?
I think that's what can be easy, going through all of them and then give our feedback at once. But I don't know what
Okay,
you
cool.
think.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Cool. Thanks, Felix
Oh, you're welcome.
and Rohini and the team. Who's next? Any volunteers? Going once, twice. Right, I guess I shall pick. Okay. Patience, you were a leader, right?
Hi, Kevin.
Hi. Are you good to go?
I will try, because the person who was to present today has a power outage, and
Okay.
yeah, he explained that I should just go forward with it if he's not in. So I don't know if Adrian is in yet.
Is it possible for you to get access to the presentation?
Yeah,
So I
I
give you more
can.
time to do that. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Okay, cool.
Thank you. So should I
Then
just
you
go?
can go last.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right, Imelda. Are we good to go? Imelda, are you there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here. I can
We're
go.
good
I
to
can.
go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm. I'm having trouble presenting. I don't know why. Sharing my screen, that is.
It's not giving you access to
Yeah.
innocence.
Um, I don't. Did you try to click on the bottom there for your screen? There is present now.
Um,
Are you using a laptop or your phone?
I'm using my laptop.
Okay, on your screen.
I've seen that present now.
Yes.
Um, I don't know. I think it's something to do with my laptop granting permission, I guess.
Mhm. What is
Just
it
give
bringing? What is it bringing?
it's saying
Yes.
I have to grant permission in order to screen share.
Well, because everyone has access to share the screen, so the permission is granted on my side. I don't know who's giving it.
Okay. Maybe you can send it to like Innocent. Send it to Innocent's email, then he can present for you.
Yes, that's okay. That's okay. I can
So
send it.
Innocent, if you could just put it on the chat,
Right.
then we'll
Um,
But in the meantime, we can
move on to
go
someone
to,
else. That's okay.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Dr. Hitch, aka Will Smith, let's go. Are you ready?
Yeah, we can go.
Cool.
All right. Huh. Let's let's go. Yes.
Melda, if you could mute.
All right. Okay. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. We are the group that took the Race to Rethink Plastic problem, which is a challenge by Enactus. And as you can see, it is powered by Coca-Cola, Dell, and Hycom. Um, so before we start getting into like the race of rethinking plastic, then we have to understand what is the problem. Is the problem plastic, um, or what actually necessitated us to have this kind of conversation? We have to have to rethink the plastic. Um, so we realize that plastic isn't the major issue. The issue is the plastic waste. About 100 years ago, we discovered fossil fuel, and shortly after that, we discovered plastic. Plastic was made so that it can last for long. Its durability is its strength, but at the same time, it's our biggest nightmare as human beings. So the problem is that the plastic and its byproducts are littering our cities, oceans, waterways, and this is contributing to a lot of health problems in humans and animals. Um, as you can see, this is just a breakdown of a problem tree that we worked on about the effects of plastic and its causes. So we can go through that. We can see that the bottom part is some of its causes of why we have a lot of plastic waste, and the upper part is the um, effects that it causes. So we see that the main what the major reason why we have plastic waste is because of poor plastic waste management. We see that a lot of landfills are have uh, a lot of plastic in them,
Sorry,
and normally as
Innocent. Innocent, could you mute?
Oh, sorry.
okay,
Go ahead.
I can continue. All right, so we can see that poor management of plastic waste is one of the biggest problems that we have today, whereby people do not know how to manage the plastic waste. That's why we find it ending up in landfills and eventually in our oceans. Another thing that has caused there to be a resurgence in plastic waste is because of there's an overuse, especially in the food industry. And if we look later, we'll see like it has a lot of side effects to that. But we see that companies got greedy because it is cheap to produce the plastic, and it is convenient for them. It helps them increase their margin. So you find an industry where they end up overusing the plastic without regard to the side effects in later times. Another cause is lack of awareness, whereby people do not know um, how to dispose of plastic waste. We had a program that was launched in the country a few years back, where they started distributing uh, waste bins across different cities. Um, and we see they had markings. There was a blue one, a green one, and a black one, where different types of waste were supposed to be uh, thrown in different places. And we'd find people throwing biodegradable waste in the bin that was meant for recyclable waste. So stuff like that will cause there to be more plastic waste because people do not are unaware of how to deal with it or what to do or where to throw the plastic. Another thing that is a major contributor is government hypocrisy. What do I mean by this? We see that an example is our country where we we ban plastic bags use in the country, but by the end of the day, we go ahead and sign a deal with the United States of America to allow them to bring their plastic waste to our country. And we very well know that our country does not know how to manage waste properly. So that's another cause of plastic waste. We see that also in the fishing industry, where nets are made out of plastic. After some time, they start um, the nets get damaged and the microplastics get into the water, and now they cause adverse effects later on. And we can see that the plastic waste also has some effects to us and to the environment, even the economy at large. The first thing is that it's killing ocean life. We've seen countless of videos where we're looking at turtles and different uh, oceanic life that have plastic in their systems, and most of them die because of this. Some plastics are carcinogenic, whereby they cause cancer, and the studies that actually prove this, and it's serious. A fun fact is that 83% of tap water that you consume contains some form of plastic. So we can see that it is actually a major problem. It causes climate change, either in the air, land, and sea. Um, it affects the food chain, whereby planktons are a major contribute at a major part of the food chain in the ocean, and when they eat the plastics, they're unable to digest it, and inevitably they die. It affects our agriculture. It is expensive to uh, it is expensive because people keep on producing more and more and more, and nothing is and instead of recycling or using it, we just continue, so it becomes expensive to recycle, and even to produce in the long run. And finally, it affects tourism, whereby we find our beaches are littered all over with plastics, and no one would want to visit a beach that um, has litter all over, which in turn will affect the economy, because now it will affect some people's livelihoods. Now, as we move on, I would like to look at some diagrams that have like a broader picture of the problem that plastics cause. If you can see here, this is a, a survey by BBC, whereby it just breaks down the production of plastics since when it started to 2015. And we can see that to 2015, there was 8.3 billion tons of plastic that was produced. And out of that, only 9% was recycled, 12% was incinerated, and 79% of it was accumulated in landfills. So we can see that we still have a major problem of, because we do not know what to do with this plastic. We're producing at mass, and we don't know how to deal with it. Um, the next slide shows bottled water and just a few statistics of how it is. Um, 1 million, as you can see from the diagram, bottles are bought every minute. That's like 20,000 a second. And if you can see, out of all this, 50% is collected for recycling, and only 7% is turned into new bottles. So we can see we still have a huge percentage of plastic that is still out there that we don't know what to do with it, and it's causing harm. And just a fun fact there, where you can see that out of all the bottles sold, plastic bottles sold in 2016, 25% of that was recycled, which as of today have increased to at least 7%. This one now shows a distribution of how plastic is up in oceans, and the countries that actually uh, contribute to this mostly are like the countries that border oceans. We can see that China was the largest um, producer of plastic waste, followed closely by the United States. And if you can see closely, our country Kenya over there is also producing a lot of plastic. So this is just a breakdown of why plastics are dangerous, because they take, as I said earlier, they were made to last. So an average life of plastic is 400 years, and in that 400 years, it will still be with us. Um, it is said that since the day we started producing plastic up to now, most of it, if not all of it, is still with us here on Earth. So just a small breakdown: styrofoam cups, the one that you use to carry coffee, takes 50 years to decompose. And if you can see, a plastic bottle will take like an average of 450 years to decompose. So we see that these things will stay with us for a very long time. So we need to find a way to deal with the waste. Now, here is just a breakdown of all the plastic that is being produced. and we can see that half of the plastic that is being produced is disposable, and this is where the problem lies. And out of this half of disposable products, less than half of it is recycled in the end. So we have still a huge amount of plastic that is thrown out there in landfills and ends up in our oceans. So what do we garner from this diagrams? First of all, we get that half of the plastic manufactured have been made in the last 15 years. Production increased exponentially from 2.3 million tons in 1950 to 448 million tons in 2015. And by the year 2050, we're expected to double that number. So as of today, we're going to produce double the amount of plastic we've produced before this date. We can see that every year about 8 million tons of plastic waste escapes into the oceans from coastal nations. And finally, plastics often contains additives, making them stronger, more flexible, and durable. But these additives can extend the life of products if they become later. And we can see just from this point, some of the plastics we know are very toxic. We can talk about a good example like PVC, which is also known as vinyl, and it is like one of the most notorious plastics. So PVC contains a substance called talodes, and talodes and heavy metals. So there's some aspects of heavy metals, and this ones create dioxins when they burn, and which is inevitably harmful to human health. And then other plastics, we can talk about like another additive that is added like bisphenol, which is abbreviated BPA, which produces a chemical that inevitably disturbs the production of hormones. When we go further, we see that when we look at our solution, we see that we didn't really point out recycling, because recycling is really hard. Plastics would contain thousands of different variations of additives, and these manufacturing companies are not required by law to disclose what they've added to the plastics, and these additives usually make it difficult to recycle the different types of plastics, because inevitably the plastics can leach depending on the condition. So sometimes heat can be a problem, or moisture, or just poor construction, so they leach and they will inevitably cause harm to people. As I said, in like an example is bisphenol. So I won't go through this a lot, but if you go to the Enactus website, we have the challenge which we were given, and this is just a breakdown of what it is. So this is just a deep dive of what we were supposed to look at, and now to the solutions that we came up with. So number one is to reduce plastic dependency. Number two is to increase producer responsibility. Increase fees and taxes on polluting plastics. Increase waste management where the problem is greatest. And then implementation of a zero vision for ocean plastic. Increased mapping, surveillance, and research. And then finally, lastly, stop the flow of plastic waste into the sea and increase funds for cleanups. So out of all this, it all sums down into what we call RB: reduce, reduce, redesign, and better management. So we have to find a way how we can reduce the plastic that we use. We have to reuse it, find also better ways of reusing the ones that we are unable to reduce. We have to be able to redesign how we use plastic and the function of, and like what we use plastic for. And then finally, we need better management of the plastic waste. As you can see earlier, we have 74% of plastic which is in landfills that is not being utilized. So we have the implementation part whereby we came up with quite a few project ideas and like really interesting ones, but it was inconclusive. So just to mention a few, whereby we can recycle plastics to make poles for electricity, for anti-theft, um, you know, starting a program where we can actually educate people on plastic and how to reuse it, recycle, and go to companies and actually make them become more accountable to what they're doing, so that we can drive more impact in the way that they think in terms of their investments, using different types of alternatives for plastic like melamine, ceramics, etc. How to, and then there was an interesting project whereby we use uh, a different form of how to turn plastic into something else rather than recycling it, like a different product like carbonic acid and all that stuff. Um, so it is not part of the presentation, but it was just it was just an honorable mention. So since we haven't started the implementation part, we do not have an impact, but there was just a nice graph so that you guys can look at. And with that, I'm done. Thank you for listening. I would welcome any questions.
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think we'll do the question at the end when everybody has presented. But otherwise, fantastic presentation, man.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty. Imelda, are we good to go?
I think I sent the work to Innocent. I don't know whether he's gotten it.
Yeah, just second.
Okay.
Dr. Hits. Alrighty.
All right. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Here is the presentation.
Okay. So for our presentation, we didn't really have a core problem, because we felt like most of the problems that are related to agriculture, there are several. It's not just one. So if you could move to the next slide, we had the causes, or rather, yeah, causes of agricultural problems. We have weather conditions. I don't know, the changes in weather, they are quite what can I say? The changes in weather affects farmers in several ways, especially now the way there's no previously there was like consistent weather patterns, but these days all that has changed, so it's quite a problem. Also, we have corrupt cooperatives. The people who work with the farmers, they tend to take advantage for their own individual needs. We also have lack of sufficient land. I guess that is practically quite you can understand easily what that means. Like there's no enough land for for farmers to indulge in farming. We have low quality fertilizers, and I think this can also be put together with these corrupt cooperatives, because you find farmers have access to bad fertilizers and also seeds. Not only fertilizers but also seeds. We also have illiteracy in farmers. Not all farmers, let me say in Kenya, not all farmers are well educated, and therefore it brings about a lot of let me say people tend to be to take advantage of the situation of that situation. There is dumping. Dumping basically means you find we import farm produce instead of doing it ourselves. We get products from other countries. So yeah, that's also a problem, and we'll see the effects that it does. There are a few people who also opt for farming, yeah, because they want to move from the rural areas where farming mostly occurs to the urban areas. We also have the use of artificial alternatives. This ideally means I don't know how to explain it in English, but like these things called GMOs. I think that is what they mean. I hope for those who don't know what GMOs are, they are basically, you see, like the way chicken, like hens, they are usually put into some, let me say, like medications for them to grow big. That's what it basically means. So for the effects, we did like effects for each and every cause that we had. Like the weather conditions, they force farmers to do a lot of adjustments in their farming, because you find that they'll have to either plant during a different season, or they have to do farming on plants that they did not intend to do on. Also, we see with these corrupt cooperatives, we find that farmers get demotivated because they get little pay from these cooperatives. And then since there is no sufficient land, it also leads to overcropping, and overcropping in turn, I think, brings about bad produce, which is actually connected to all these points regarding low quality fertilizers. All those, they're all connected to bad produce in the end. With farmers being illiterate, as I said, it makes these people from cooperatives to exploit the farmers. And for the dumping, which ideally is importing, it makes our Kenyan produce not to have market. Excuse me. Yeah, Kenyan produce don't get market because people will definitely go for things that are imported because of the quality and everything. We also have reduction in produce, and farmers are limited to certain techniques. That is due to the limited resources. Yeah. So with this, ideally, it just shows how with little resources, farmers can't do much. They will tend to stick to certain techniques for them to be able to farm. Also, there's loss of human resources and overpopulation in urban areas. This is due to the few people opting to farm. So loss of human resources basically just means that because people are moving from the rural areas to urban, there are no people to farm in those areas. And here in the urban areas, it brings about overpopulation. Yeah, because people come to seek for employment and such like things. Yeah. Then the use of these artificial alternatives, it causes pollution to the environment. And also, even though they cause pollution, it also brings about diseases to us who are the consumers, because we see that these products, they're not natural. Therefore, as we consume them, they're also making impact in our bodies, which are basically negative impacts. Yeah. So I think with that, those were the causes and the effects that we had. And you'll see that most causes, as you may see, they have adverse effects to both the farmers and the agricultural sector. And so for the solutions that we had talked about, we talked about improving the machinery for the farmers so that it becomes easier for them. Yeah. If it's easier for them, they're able to do a lot in the long run. Also for problems like the illiteracy in the farmers or even the cooperatives taking advantage, educating the farmers will be the best way forward. Yeah, regardless. And also to encourage farming so as to give more individuals interest in partaking in farming. We have proper resources to be distributed to the farmers to avoid having bad produce due to the bad fertilizers, the bad seeds, all those things that are impacting the plants in a negative way. If at all they have good supply, then the problem will definitely be solved. And so in conclusion, even though these problems are there, does not mean that we cannot take part in farming or the agriculture. We just need to find good ways to implement the things that need to be implemented so as to improve our agricultural sector. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Imelda. Thank you, Imelda.
Thank you as well.
Cool. Cynthia.
Cynthia. Hello, Cynthia. Okay. Patience. Am I heard?
Well, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Are you ready now, or
I can present a Word document if you guys don't mind. Let me just
okay,
share
cool.
my
That works.
screen.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see the Word document?
No, we can see the Google Meet.
and we can click on present now and then present a window and then select that Word document.
Okay, let me just do that. Um, I can't I can't share the Word document. I don't know why. It's only bringing me to PowerPoint. But let me just share the PowerPoint first. Can you guys see my screen? The PowerPoint.
Yes,
Yes.
we can
Okay.
see the pop.
So I'll just read from a Word document that is okay. It's having there's a bit of an issue with it sharing when it comes to sharing the screen, but as you can see, there is the problem tree here. Basically, our core problem is global warming, but since it's really wide, we decided to narrow it down to have global warming in conjunction with marine life, yeah, and all that good stuff going around. So global warming, that is the core problem that we'll be dealing with. So what is it about global warming that we're going to do? So coming down, we have overfishing. So with overfishing being that is the main thing that is the main cause we'll be looking at, overfishing. So why overfishing? What is it about overfishing that brings about global warming? With overfishing being a serious problem in this planet, it's something pivotal that we have to discuss, we have to tackle. Experts predict that by the year 2030, there will be 80 billion pound reduction in the fish that we have. So this is brought about by, we know in the Nyanza region, the lake regions, the ocean parts of the Mombasa places, yeah, we have fishing as a source of livelihood. Guys have taken this up as a source of livelihood, have taken it up as a source of food. So this basically brings this overfishing that we're talking about. We'll see fish being consumed in large amounts, and this actually is a delicacy in Kenya. The guys, you know what I mean by saying it's a delicacy. everywhere there is fish being sold, there is fish being consumed. But in order to do this, we have to remove this fish from the lakes, the water bodies, and all that. And these guys will go out there and take out large amounts of fish. There'll be no fishing sparingly. There'll be just fish. Give it out to the guys at the market. They sell it. They get more money. They go back and redo the whole process again. So this is actually an effect, because when we do this overfishing, there'll be nothing left for the bigger fish. So we have the whales, we have the sharks, and their main source of food is the smaller fish, the omena, as we call it, daga for the coastal people, sardines for the English guys, yeah, and other smaller fish, phytoplanktons, and all that. But now, if we don't have the source of livelihood for the bigger fish on consuming the smaller fish will give out, or as a waste, marine manure, which helps to fuel the basis of all life in the open ocean. Also, indirectly for the non-aquatic life. So how do we do this? Well, by the help of phytoplanktons, microscopic drifting plants, they combine the nutrients of the marine manure by the power of the sun. So the sun also plays a major role. So the sun comes together with phytoplanktons, microscopic drifting plants, and they combine them and together with the marine manure. It's almost like fertilizer to plants in a shamba, in a farm. So that comes into combination. So our oceans here are our makeshift farms, so to speak. If I have to take that example, the marine manure will combine with the phytoplanktons and the microscopic drifting plants, and we'll have the sun coming into play. And this very foundation of every food chain out here, primarily all animals depend on these phytoplanktons for food and also survival, for them to produce half of the oxygen that we breathe, but also play a vital role in the formation of colossal clouds. So once this combination has taken place, we'll have the formation of colossal clouds in the sea areas. So very huge clouds, kilometers long, which will help to reflect the sun's immense heat back to the space, thereby reducing global warming. So with these immense colossal clouds, kilometers long, even with the ozone layer, these clouds also play a major role in deflecting the heat back to the ozone layer, back to space. This reduces global warming. The humidity that the humid air that we breathe, the heavy dense air, is not present when these actions are taking place in the ocean regions, Mombasa, the lake regions. So we don't have this global warming as such. We don't feel its effects very harshly when we have this going on in our environment. So the combination happening helps to really reduce the global warming effect on our side. Next, organic waste build up in our environment, which leads to formation of methane, which is a greenhouse gas. So 84 times more potent than CO2, which will absorb most of the sun's heat, hence heating our which will absorb most of the sun's heat, hence heating our atmosphere. So with the help of this combination that I talked about, the phytoplanktons, marine manure, the sun, and the buildup of the clouds, then organic waste in the environment, this is like methane, the greenhouse gases will not be forming in our environment. So that's what I was saying, when we have this deflecting going back, so we'll have this combination building oxygen for us, and oxygen mixing with other gases, it becomes less harsh to us. But if we don't have that oxygen being built, Then we have methane crowding, these greenhouse gases crowding our environment and our atmosphere, and we won't really have clean air. We'll see people getting sick, and all that. So what are the effects that this overfishing as a main thing causes to us? Our world is made up of 70% of water. That's something. Okay, assuming you've looked at a globe in a picture, you've seen that most of the masses there is 70% water, and these are our oceans, lakes, rivers, and they mostly absorb most of the excess ultraviolet heat. So if our oceans and our marine life are being taken over by, overfishing is tampering with this, and the global warming coming about, our water evaporating, our lakes drying up, our rivers drying up. There's no place whereby the ultraviolet heat from the sun is going to be absorbed, and there's no place where the greenhouse gases are going to be absorbed. And the life in the oceans and lakes and rivers absorb these greenhouse gases and turn it back into oxygen for us. So if there is the global warming and the drying up of our lakes, oceans, then we won't be having really, we won't be able to absorb the ultraviolet heat from the sun and the ozone layer, and then this is going to cost us. There'll be a lot of diseases from all this. And the ocean temperatures will be very high, so there'll be that drying up. So the increase in temperatures after our marine species and ecosystem have all gone, there'll be coral bleaching, and corals can grow at the plants of the ocean. So if there's coral bleaching, loss of breeding grounds for marine fishes, mammals, and this in turn will just affect us biodiversity. There will be biodiversity going around. So this is the greatest effect, and it will cost us in disease-wise. It will bring about acidic rain, poisoning. So acid rain actually brings about poisoning of our water, poisoning of our crops. Our crops die. There's a lot of effects that will. There are a lot of things that will come about from that effect, from this effect, basically. So a solution that the causes. There will be a lot of causes that will come from that effect. So what solution do we have to offer for this? So there's these flies called the black soldier flies. So the black soldier flies, basically, when they lay their eggs, the first development stage will be larvae, and in the stage of metamorphosis, so it will be larvae. And these are a very great source of protein for animals, and they can be used as animal feed. So when we harvest the black soldier fly eggs, so assuming let me take an example of bees. We put them somewhere, we create conditions for them that will be conducive. They lay their eggs, we harvest them when they're at the metamorphosis stage and use them to feed our animals, since there are no small fish for them to feed on. So we actually use it as food for the fish, and this will act as a protein. 45% of those fish that are fished will use to 45% of those eggs will be used to make food for will be used to make marine animal feed. So doing this will continue the reaction that goes on between the phytoplanktons, the bigger fish. Marine manure will be produced. There'll be the sun coming into play. There'll be the formation of those clouds. The global warming will have reduced immensely. And the good thing with these black soldier flies is that they're not hard to handle, and breeding them is not really it's taxing everything. Most of it will be taxing, coming up with a place for them and all that, but it's not that hard. It's almost like just create conditions that are favorable for them, and this simple thing will be a game changer, basically, to tackle the climate change, the global warming in itself. That's the main thing. But as you can see from the PowerPoint, there is overfishing as our main, but then we also have deforestation here, where overpopulation of people because they're looking for land for settlement. So cutting down trees will also disrupt the normal functioning, because trees, we are told, are the ones that trap rain, rather, like in the Mount Kenya region. You see where there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of rain, then there's that cooling of the environment. So the whole reaction is balanced out. So when you have overpopulation, people looking for settlement, you see them going to the Mau, cutting trees and all that. So that will also invite global warming. Pollution, air and water. So that's poor disposal of waste from industries. So air pollution, water pollution, all this is actually poor disposal of waste in industries. Then we have the greenhouse gases over here. So organic waste build up in the environment. So this is the organic waste that I've been talking about, the methane, the carbon dioxide in large amounts. Although we exhale it, yes, but in large amounts, it's dangerous to us. And this, the whole reaction that I was talking about, tries to expel carbon dioxide as much as possible and methane as greenhouse gases as much as possible. So then we have up here we have low food production, so food insecurity. We have seasonal changes, like Imelda has talked about in the whole agriculture scene. The seasonal changes come about. We used to know when to plant, we used to know when not to plant, but now we don't know any of those. We rely heavily on our meteorological department, and it's all confusing. It's this today, this tomorrow, and we end up having no food for the people in our country. We end up now starting to borrow. We end up importing food. That's not something that an agricultural country such as Kenya is supposed to be having a problem with. Then we have the affect biodiversity. Then we have increase in ocean temperatures. We've also talked about it. Coral bleaching affects marine life, ecosystem, and all that. It affects the main process. So the problem tree on the PowerPoint is just a, what should I say? It's just a brief. It's just things put together to further show you, but the expounding of, I hope I have expounded enough on the Word document from the explanation I've given actually. Yeah, I guess that's all. That's basically all.
Awesome. Thank you, Patience.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we have one more presentation to go. Cynthia, are you ready?
I think I don't know. She's not responding. Maybe she's not there. I'm not sure.
Anybody from Cynthia's group who's here?
Yeah. Is there anyone who has been watching with Cynthia? Maybe can represent the group. I think there's none, but I think we'll
So
reach
no
out
one
to
from
them.
Cynthia's group is around?
It seems that they will know it.
Okay, cool. All right, I guess we'll just move on to the next part of the meeting and call it a day. Yeah, right. Innocent, Grace, and the rest of the team. Feedback, anything that like caught your attention that you really liked. Um, yeah, can start with the positives. I
Yeah,
guess Innocent, you can start.
I'd like Catherine to start because.
No, it's okay. You can start first.
Okay. All right. I've seen. I think the presentation were good. I really like them, and they really need to be. They really need a round of applause. I don't know, but it can be them. But I think they did a good job, all the presenters and all the teams, because they took their time, they researched about the problem, and I really liked what they did. They did a very good work, and I really appreciated it. But on the first presentation, maybe there's something which could be done differently. The first presentation was about which group was it? Anything under the sun, and they presented about the wildlife. I did not get the whole concept, but there's something which caught
Yes,
my
yes.
there's something which caught my attention. They were saying that the human animal conflict is the problem, but then they did not say how is it a problem. I mean, how is it a problem? They did not say how that one is a problem, and also they did not say like how it can be solved. They propose solutions, but then they did not go deep into the problem and to come up with their own solution. It was more of factual solutions. It was more of a factual solution than their own solution. What I mean by their own solution is to go deep into the problem, showing that like how that conflict is really a problem, or maybe how poaching is really a problem, uh, and the effect of it. They did not go deep into the effect of the poaching part. And the same for agriculture.
Yeah, I
Agriculture
think we
was
can just stay there for a second.
sorry.
Let's just keep it one presentation at a
Okay.
time. Cool, cool. Any more thoughts on that presentation?
Pardon?
Any more thoughts on Rohini's team, wildlife, Innocent?
Is Innocent the one who's still giving the feedback, or I can chime in something?
I'm done. I think mine
Okay,
is
sure.
done. You can give yes.
Oh,
Gotcha.
for me, um, I'm sure it's Felix who was presenting, right? Yeah. I liked the presentation, though I feel like with the PowerPoint, they could change the font and probably reduce a bit of the information. Considering it's a PowerPoint, I was a bit distracted. But other than that, I liked the fact that they had quite a plethora of solutions. Though, like Innocent said, would like to see how they as a group would go about solving the problem rather than giving us solutions that we can simply just find off the internet.
Okay, okay, okay. Grace?
Hi. So
Hi.
I really liked. One sec, one sec. I'm sorry, I was trying to reduce some background noise. So I really liked your presentations. I think we're off to a great start. I think some things that I think I can point out overall. I don't think I'll zero in on specific presentations, but things that I noted is that most groups were doing multiple problems, And I think
Yeah.
it's advisable you focus on one specific problem and you work on that specific one and you focus on it and find a solution to it. And also on the problem, I think it's very important to state who the problem is affecting and to what extent. So, like have statistics so that you can make it seem like it's a big problem. It's affecting people. It's just not a problem affecting a small percentage of people or a small location. Also, you should create a picture in people's minds. So if it's a problem you're talking about, make sure you articulate it very well in that you make sure the people who you're presenting to can see the problem, can feel it the way you're feeling it. Yeah, you understand? I hope we're getting each other. And also for the solution, I think you should also be passionate about the solution you're giving. So also say it with excitement and make people feel that it's indeed a solution to whatever problem that people are facing. And one thing I'll leave you with is have a message, develop structure for it, and focus on how you deliver it. Yeah, so for now, that's all. And congratulations, you guys have done well.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. I think I'll go next uh, with Rohini's team. I think you guys identified a lot of. First of all, I really like the choice, considering you guys had the option of choosing anything. And I think choosing wildlife was a fantastic choice. So whoever came up with that idea is great because it's a critical industry in Kenya and in Africa as a whole. And I think looking at issues that affect that means you're going to have um, wild scale impact, especially when you focus on one, as Grace had said. So I think I commend the choice. And I think throughout the entire presentation, you guys had identified a lot of great uh, core issues you could have focused on. The entire list, like every single one, is a problem in its own. And I think being able to identify all of that is great. And even within the problems, the causes that you had identified within all those major blocks you had mentioned, there are also fantastic core issues you could have focused on even within that. So on those would be like some of my positives that I would say that you guys have done. Uh, um, yeah, so I think right now it's just uh, uh, is it possible to just see the presentation, or there's something I wrote that I'd like to point out?
Actually, Felix was presenting and
Or
he's left, and I don't have the presentation because I'm using my phone. So I could send you the presentation though.
okay, cool. I think I'll point that out when I see it. But yes, those would be generally my positives on a whole on your presentation. So great job, Rohini and the team.
Thank you.
Is there anything in particular you would like to say, or you need clarification on?
No, but I would like to explain Innocent's point when he pointed out that we didn't explain humans in animal and all that. And he has a point because the
Okay.
presenter did not explain the points. We had just written down the points in the PowerPoint, but we hadn't actually explained. So just give me 1 minute. I can just explain to you if you don't mind. Or
I think it would be great.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
okay, just 1 second. Let me just open my presentation. So it was human conflict. That was the first human wildlife conflict. I'll send you the PowerPoint afterwards, like in a minute. So we said crop raiding, attacks on humans, livestock depredation, and property damage. So we have seen in some scenarios where animals have come, we have the humans have crossed boundaries and started growing crops, and due to that, animals have also attacked on humans, and we've seen such cases not just in Kenya but in other countries as well. Livestock deprivation is so crop raiding. What it means is crossing boundaries. Like we as humans, we have extended boundaries. We've taken their home and started growing crops and agriculture and everything at their land. Then attack on humans is when we don't have like proper boundaries, or sorry, like we haven't fenced properly in some areas, but we have done that right now. And that's how, like, sometimes animals can cross over fences and come to houses. Like for example, I used to live in Langata, right opposite the national park, and we had scenarios where the snakes would come over it. You'd find them at the ground where where kids are playing, and you'd find snakes there, and we'd all panic and go away. So we had people who'd come regularly and keep a check on the environment. Livestock depredation is like taking, for example, risk of lions attacking livestock, like outside Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, where we've had such a case. So yeah, that is what we meant. Then biodiversity is very like animals and loss of biodiversity is when we've lost animals due to conquering of their land, and this has also led to extinction because of poaching and like just killing animals because we need that land for our use. We've also grown industries in such areas. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to explain. If Adam, do you get what I said, or
Yeah, I got it. I got it. Thank you.
okay?
Yeah,
Thank you for the explanation.
Innocent, you were.
Sorry, Kevin.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was a lot. It's okay. Yeah, I think that was a lot better. And I think that fattens up the points a lot better. So yes. Thank you, Rohini.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we'll move on to Dr. Hitch. Uh, Innocent, would you like to start? Or
I
if you're around? Sorry.
Okay. Can start. I mean, I like Dr. H. Dr. H. Or he said they just say doctor because
You can just
I
say
don't.
David.
Oh, okay. David
Yeah.
is better with doctor, but Dr. H. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's H or Hick.
It's
Anyway,
just how you say the letter H.
all right. All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like. Okay, first of all, I like the design. I mean, it was, I don't know. I thought only ladies could match well colors, but the design was very good and appropriate to what you did.
Yeah.
I really like it. But then on to the presentation itself. There's a few points that I noticed that
Yeah.
you stated out the problems, or let's say the issues, and then
Hmm.
you gave solutions. And
Yeah.
I just pick one solution randomly. I'll not go through all of them. I'll just pick one randomly. You say
Mhm.
that one of the solution is to reduce the plastic usage, but then you did not say like how. You see how will we reduce the plastic usage? I mean, the question that you did not address in most of the solution you proposed was how. You just say to reduce the plastic usage, but then how are you reducing it? That's when I come to what I said, and it's more of addressing the problem and proposing a personal solution to the problem so that we
Yeah.
can really tackle it. Because when you say we have to reduce the plastic usage, but if you don't say how are we reducing it, it becomes an unsolved problem, if I can phrase it. You might say maybe you propose something else, maybe something which can play the role of plastic or something like that. That's the only thing I just wanted to highlight on that part.
Okay, maybe I can speak to that a little bit. Um, from the meeting where we were assigned into groups, we gathered that we were supposed to create a problem tree. So we were mainly just supposed to work on the problem and not dive mostly into the solution. So that's what I got, and I think that's what most people are doing. That's why you see we're looking into more of the problems and rather not the solutions. So we did not discuss the solutions in depth. We just mentioned them. So I did not have like enough information to put out about the solutions. But with time, we'll develop on them.
Oh, all right. Oh, now I get. Now I try to relate what
Yeah.
what you present. But it was really good. I think you made the objective of it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I think for me, I would say it's great identification of the core issue within like the macro viewpoint of plastics. Um, I would be a bit critical on the government hypocrisy of the core issues. I think you could be a bit more specific, either it's government systems and stuff. Um, but for me, government hypocrisy wasn't a good enough phrasing or a good enough wording or identification of one of the causes of plastic waste.
Yeah.
Um, I would have wanted to have seen um, the like how you explained all those causes verbally, because you identified like the list of the causes uh, on the bottom of the screen, and then you went into detail on each one of them of how those causes are caused, which I really like. I think it would have just been nice to see it on the screen too,
Oh,
so
okay.
we get a visual viewpoint of it. But I really like your understanding of the issue of plastics on a global scale. And I think the research was really well done in regards to that. I think what we now would need to do is focus more locally and being more uh, within the Kenyan and at a maximum East African context.
Okay.
But the understanding of the issue globally was fantastic. And I think get it more local, maybe you can also engage in more primary research, either interacting people of why there's waste here and stuff, and like talking to or doing more research on maybe Kenyan based publications and stuff. And I think that would give you more localized um, results. That can give you more context of how Kenya plays in the global scale.
Yes.
But but all in all, I think you have a fantastic understanding of the issue at hand.
Okay.
Okay. Um, anyone else who had anything to say? Okay, Grace said she could channel. Okay, I think we can move on to Melda. Um, for me, I'd say like from the list of all your causes, um, there were like a lot of core issues you could have focused on individually. But I thank you for like identifying like all those causes individually, and I think now it's just focusing on one. And uh, yeah, and I think one of the core issues that I think would be great to focus on was the one of the poor fertilizers for the farmers not being illiterate, not knowing better methodologies of how to improve their yield. I think those would be great to focus on. I know Innocent being having been a part of a grant can even give you better analysis from what what I have, and I think you could have done a bit better on the effects side of things. I think being a bit more specific and um, gone a lot further with it. Because it was a fantastic start. I think you could have just gone a little deeper with those effects because they were good. I think you could have just gone um, further. I think Innocent would have more to say because um,
Yeah.
he's done a project on agriculture before. Innocent,
All right, and also on the presentation of
are you?
Imelda, I just wanted to like highlight something because she gave the causes and the effect, but in the root tree analysis, there's the core issue. I mean, the core problem. She did not highlight it. Did not highlight the core issue. But apart from that, everything was good and it
She
was
had
very good.
mentioned that she was.
The core issue. Um,
Yeah, she said she
I
was
mean, the
gonna
core
be.
problem. Oh,
Yeah, I've noted that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Um, and I guess lastly, we go to patience. Um, I think, like David, you both had like a great global understanding of the issue. I think you broke down global warming really well, uh, identifying the causes and more causes on those causes when you were using the word document, which I like. Uh, uh, and yeah, I think as well, I'll just say get a little bit more local. That's fine. But yeah, get a bit more local and yeah. But all in all, I think you had a great understanding of global warming and you did a really good problem tree analysis on that. Uh, uh, and yeah, and even within no, yeah, that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
Is Innocent still around?
No, I mean, there's nothing to add because you've said all, and she really, and even though our presentation was just one slide, but in the one slide, it was, I mean, it was, how can I say? I mean, it was short, but it meant a lot, meaning that what she was presenting, it was only one slide, but we could get more from what she was presenting. It was really nice, and I really appreciated it. And she really highlighted the core issue, the cause, the effect, and yeah, that's what I can say about the presentation. And I really look forward to having you implementing the solutions you propose, or maybe we can come up with different solutions. But I think the solution is really great. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Cool. I think anybody else has anything to say, um, any clarifications or things you'd like to point out in general about anyone's presentation, um, more specifically, Joy, Ayolo, Nicole, Vivian, anything you guys would like to say? It would be nice to hear your voices and your opinions.
Hi.
Hi, Vivian.
I would really love to thank you guys for making this club a home for us. Or personally for me, I feel more at home being here. And also thank you for giving us the opportunity to try out and research on these things and present. It's really a pleasure. Yes. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend.
Okay, cool. Compliments for us. Okay, I like that. And anything on the presentation, specifically like
Pardon?
or for any of like the groups you didn't, anything on the presentations on the groups you were not a part of, anything you'd like to say, point out, compliment.
Nothing really much apart from what we did. I really oh my god. Uh, in all the groups, I've really seen effort, and that's nice thing. But what I would love to emphasize is, uh, team effort, like everyone to be there. And if you don't make it, you like excuse yourself, or you follow up later and find out what people did. These small commitments will really help you as an individual. It's called self-discipline. Yeah. But anywho, all the works, all the groups have really done a nice job for the start. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Thank you, Vivian. Um, okay, I think it's 5:52 now. So to conclude, I think overall, every single one of the groups has done a good and a great identification of the core issues within like the designated sphere of searching, and yeah, I think there was a bit of a miscommunication from the solution section. I really don't want to see like any solutions being offered at this point because it would narrow your thinking. Um, I would want like an open mind towards that. So, but yeah, so that would be my thought on just the solution. I think this is not the time to be thinking about it. I think right now it's just understanding issues deeper and understanding issues more intimately, so that when we're tackling a problem, we're tackling something our hearts are involved in, and we're tackling something where we understand what really the issue is and what really the solutions are. Because your presentations are at all different points and, and whatnot, I think we'll give you individual feedback on the way forward. Uh, and yeah, that's what we'll do. I guess over the week, next week, we'll just meet up and just talk about it more specifically and look at the way forward from there. But all in all, a fantastic start to your Enactus journey, and yeah, great things are coming. Great things are coming. So, without further ado, we've come to the end of the meeting, and until we say to do, if there's anything anyone wants to say, anything anyone wants to point out, this is your time to do so. But otherwise, feel free to go and have a fantastic evening. Say hello to your family for me. And as you go, maybe you could point out something interesting about yourself um, as we say toodles.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, everyone, for coming. And maybe what I can say is all the best for people who are doing their exams next week, if we have any. And yeah, thank you for coming. Yeah.
Have a nice weekend, all.
Alrighty then. Bye, patience.
Bye, Kevin.